So good evening, and thank you to Aslan also for keeping this I think spiritual mission of trying to engage religion and peace, and religion also and peace education together. And I think this is important and needed, during this time. And I'm speaking to you from Bethlehem now, and I'd like to talk about a course that I taught and ran for a few years, about 10 years, at Bethlehem University. So if can I share my PowerPoint? Yes. Okay, so my things is, I think it's a follow-up for the previous three, I think, practical experiences that were presented, which is, I highly emphasize the role of teachers, as was mentioned by the moderator, I think. I think how to prepare the teachers of religion or teachers in elementary schools where they have to touch upon teaching religious education, regardless of who is religion is. I was working at Bethlehem University where my students are mainly Muslim and Christians. So that's why this course was taken by me for many reasons, because I did research relating to how the relationship, how between Palestinian Christian and Palestinian Muslim, and how religious education has been presented and taught. And mainly when we talk about religious education, as we all know, that religion is part of our it's part of our daily life, because religion is still part of the conflict. So I was struck by this experience when two teachers at the afternoon one summer course, when one Muslim teacher said, Jesus, peace be upon him. And she was thinking that she really respects Jesus, and she shows how Muslims are really looking high at Jesus as a messenger and as a prophet. But all of a sudden, a Christian teachers came in sharp tone and said, you cannot say this. And the Muslim teacher was very puzzled. What should I say? Are we respect Jesus? There's a full chapters about Jesus in the Quran. And she said, Jesus, peace be from him. So the word peace from him and peace upon him create a lot of way of thinking. What should we do in relation to these issues of either practices or belief? That's why we started. I started this course. Of course, I didn't. When I started this course, I didn't want to touch into the belief. I would like to touch into the practice rather than the belief, because here, if we go into the belief systems, where the stats of Jesus in Christianity, the stats of Jesus in Islam, and also was he crucified, was he not crucified, about the stats of Virgin Mary, etc. So from the beginning, I think to enter into the preparing teachers to deal with the belief system, it's a fatal approach. So I think it's better to address it from the practical things. And anyway, religious practice is what means for us as a human being. It's not religious beliefs between the individual and God. As was mentioned by the three speakers, I think, and one of the question was raised, I think it's important people to get to know the rituals and the festival of each other's. So religious education is taught, is compulsory course in all Palestinian schools. They have to do that. And they have to do it from grade 1 to grade 12 with different periods of the week. And most of private schools are mix of Christian and Muslim students. That's why, in these type of schools, Muslim and Christian students, they study all the subject together, but when it comes to the religious education course, they are separated. If each will go to different class or room to study. So that creates a lot of suspicions, what they teach, how they teach, what they learn, do they talk about us, they don't talk about us, etc. And when we analyze the type of schools in Palestinian schools, we found out there are 4 types of schools in relation to religions background students, where some schools are majority Christian, minority Muslim, majority Muslim, minority Christians, all Muslim and all Christians. So that's one formula. And teachers should be qualified, and we think they are qualified at the university level or seminars. They should have BA degree to be able to teach. Some of them are required to take education diploma to be able to teach. And most of the teachers who are used to train, they were supposed to be trained and prepared to teach in kindergarten and in grade 1 to 4, which is the elementary basic schools. And those teachers, even they are educated in elementary education or classroom teacher, they are expected to teach also religion, religious education in their side. Um, so so that's the reason why we at Faculty of Education we decide to teach a course called Religious Education that address both teachers, Muslim and Christian future teachers, and to be able to deal with that. Even if they don't teach religion in school or religious education school, they will be sensitive to the issues related to wait, just once. Yeah, related to what they do, because when you are in mixed schools, there are so many activities, so many practices that goes on. That's when we designed this course. We thought it should aim to know the content of religious education school books, how it's being taught. They will be able to be planning for teaching also sessions, uh, analyze the activities that schools are doing, and to understand the role of religion in building up student personality. Of course, it exposes students to each other, religions. And this is something which is, we found it very challenging to a certain point. We aim also to increase understanding and respect among students, both religion, animosity, fear, suspicion, and ignorance. We hope to reduce that. We aim also to develop a student's ability toward living together in peace and harmony, and also mitigate stereotype, extremism, fanaticism, and also misuse and misrepresentation of religion. Um, of course, when we talk about religion, is it only worshiping God or Allah, or is it also the practice while we relate to each others? So that's why we moved to create opportunities for students to engage together in each other religious activities. And that's also very much, we found it very much, helpful to realize what rituals are important, what they do it for, what is like that. And also the most things as maybe goes into many places, that religion always is taken for granted. But that's why also we hope, I was hoping that this course will be able to encourage students to raise serious question, critical question about their religion, about the other religion, and to feel comfortable doing that. Why this course was needed or is needed? First assumption, teachers has important role. They have very important role in influencing children, especially at young age. And also it's very important to have a line or a thin line between when we talk about religious beliefs and religious practices and rituals. And also to be able to understand that religious belief is between you and Allah and God, but religious practice is what we are affected by if we, in classes or society. Religious practice, as we felt that what brings people together more, and it's also sensitive to enter discussing religious belief, but it's much easier to discuss religious practices. Teachers train separately, and that's important when we raise this issue as part of my research, which took place a long time ago, that both teachers of religion are trained separately, but that in this process they will be able to share their experiences together here now. There are research findings which is very alarming to some, and they're very maybe acceptable to others. That when I did my research about religious and teaching religious, especially in mixed school, we found it that it's better to keep teaching religion in schools rather than leaving it to parents or mosque. And that's lead us to very important to focus on the role of the teachers, that they should be educated and prepared to take that. They don't like it to that churches or mosque or religious group to be in charge. Um, and we found that sensitivities between Muslim and Christian students in mixed school are higher than in non-mixed school. And that's really an alarming also result. And the students prefer to take side and to sit in a classroom with pupils from their own religion. And we found the very also interesting ideas that both students do not respect or like the way of dressing of the other side. Both Christian and Muslim, they have concern about that. So that's why it's sensitive issues. Students are sensitive also in a way that how they are being called, how their religion are being called or described, presented. Is it Muhammad's religion or Allah religion? Is it Nazareth or Christians? These are sensitive words that created a lot of fear and a lot of suspicions. And parents, when we ask parents prefer that their children, they prefer the friends of their children to visit them rather than their children to visit their friends from the other religion. Of course, we highlight also sometimes the sensitive issue of political situation where religion, because of the Israeli occupation, sometimes is being taken as a way of discriminations and as a way of creating distance between Muslim and Palestinian Muslim and Christians. We thought religious education textbooks should include both religion. Teachers should be also use different methods in teaching and also evaluation, because it's not teaching religions should not be continue to be inoculation of knowledge or rote learning. Should be engaging in discussion. And one thing is to add one period where both Muslim and Christian students study religious cultural awareness together. To start religion dialogue also in schools and communities is important, holding together joint rituals in schools. Why I'm saying this, because this is based on observations of how religious education being taught. The school should avoid, because that's something, should avoid compelling some student to attend ceremonies or prayers of the other religion. Schools should provide opportunities for both sides religious group to practice their religion. It's not only for mosque for Muslim or praying room for Muslim or small church for the Christian. It should be allowing both to be able to practice their rituals if they want to pray. And one thing which is really important, that when we found that some schools hire teachers and assign teaching, assigned to them teaching religious education just to fill out and fill their teaching loads. So that's why it's coming. It's not, when you are not really well prepared to teach your religion in an adequate way, you tend to be more extremes or misuse your religions. Religion also schools should give the same values, importance for holidays occasion. Like holidays should be addressed in schools the same for Christian and Muslims. So that's why I decided this course to really analyze the religious education in schools, the content, how it's being taught, and also to my student to select, present, and discuss different religious topics from both religions together jointly. And of course, to analyze challenging and difficulties facing teaching religions in religious education in subjects in schools, and how to develop religious education in the right direction where harmony, understanding, and coexistence, can be prevailed. So when I started this, I have to set out the terms. As one of the speakers said, she's a Christian and she doesn't know how to deal with activities praying of 90% of her group as Muslim. It's for me also, because I'm Muslim, and my class is mixed of Christian and Muslims. So it's very sensitive for me also. So when we set out the terms together, we don't compare. We don't judge. We don't. There's no intention of reaching agreement. No preaching at all. No interruption. No criticism. No delegitimization. Only allow the questions. Why? What? It's question that help people to explain more the concept or the themes or the topics that have, and avoid sensitive and acceptable terms. Avoid questioning the beliefs, which is really very sensitive when it started. When there's agreement, also we ask them to seek information. Emotion, we cannot forbid the emotion from coming out. They should be, and students should to sit in mixed seating, meaning that because when I enter the classroom, I see Muslim students sit in one side, Christian students are sitting on the other side. So we decide that they should be mixed together. And the first activities which I started, very basic things, and I would like to make it easy for both students to be able to really engage in this fearful or this skeptical way. So that's why I asked them to prepare themselves individually. What do you expect to learn about this course? What fears, worries, problems do you expect? What do you expect to give, to offer to in the course? How do you foresee your participation, engagement in the course? And open discussions always followed any kind of this, these issues. Second activity, which is
just because of the time, we don't have so much time. I gave you a little bit more because we started late.
Yes, because we started. I appreciate that. I will just zoom through. Don't worry about
it. Just to know, we have a couple of minutes, please, just to remember you.
Okay, so we engage them in topics that's related to joint topics from both religions, what they like to know more, what they like to discuss more, etc., etc. How would you like to be called? These just basic things. What requirement? Each assignment should be done by mixed group, Muslim and Christian, in full cooperation. They themselves decide what group they will take in. They decide their group, joint selected activity together, and should be based on empirical and theoretical resources and practical things. And they should prepare and discuss these jointly, and both they give the same evaluation. And the assignment is, I will just go through it. They have to analyze this content of school textbooks. They have to select topics that they would like to, for example, fasting in Christianity, fasting in Islam, praying, pilgrimage, all these examples. They selected that dowry, inheritance, men, women rights, etc. Neighborhood, all these they joined to books, and how their religion presented that, the topic address that. And we decided in this course to visit jointly holy places for both sides. And when we visit holy places, we really go deeper into discussion, the stats of these places, invite sheikh and priests also to talk to the classes. We arrange family visits, and sharing family dinners and family also holidays, so. And also we ask my student to go into classroom and facilitate for the people religious activities, plan religious play, rituals together. Different Christian, assignment by different Christian denomination, Islamic school group, etc. These issues became also important. The reaction of the course is very amazing. Some of them, they felt anger, upset, feeling uncomfortable, but some of them feel satisfied content. Interreligious disagreement start to come up. Grouping according to religion sometimes reformed. Some students continue to use we and they, eruption of emotion, shouting, crying, accusation, etc. Some feeling need to be more, some people feel they need more to go more and understand their religion much better. Reaction to the course also continue that you need to know more about your religion, become much more careful in using syntax. Students start to know how to relate to the other religion, use the right words. Students feel comfortable because each side has equal opportunity, enjoyment, and they don't want to end the course. They don't want to end the course, and they will advise their even friends to take part of that. And they wish themselves to take the course again, and hopefully they become able to avoid extremism, dogmatism, etc. Students feel I can now better resist religious discrimination. They develop more respect for the other religious and places. Challenges and risk, as we imbalanced in leading the course, imbalanced in the knowledge, because I don't know much about Christianity. Keeping repeating Muslim and Christian, Islam and Christianity sometimes sounds as discrimination, and able to intervene in discussion to avoid taking side, and able to handle erupted emotion, and able also to keep respecting the term of reference, the persistent effect of the daily life and the stereotype that they bring, the children bring, the student bring from their family, an equal number of students in the classroom. Lesson learned, which is very important, avoid to use the word dialogue and religious tolerance, maybe that's contrary to others. Work toward understanding, respecting, and accepting, focus on religious symbols and avoid discussing belief, avoid comparison, who's right and who's wrong, who's going to heaven, who's not going to hell. What's important for us as a human is the relationship between people. You can do whatever you can, but don't expect to finish the good deeds. The positive effect maybe could not last long. And finally, I came to these three definitions. I'm sorry, maybe I'm overtaking my time. As I reached the word toward understanding, respecting, and accepting, where understanding, you have to understand the other religion as the way they would like them to be understood, and to respect other religions, symbol, ritual, etc., and to accept them the way they are, not to use any means to harm them, or to feel comfortable living together in peace. And I end up here by thanking the organizers and for the good listening. And I'm sorry if I exceeded my time, but that's life.